You are not broken, not behind, not too much, not too little, and definitely not flawed in some secret way that others aren't. But I know that doesn't always feel true. And today, I want to show you exactly why that voice of self-doubt isn't a verdict on who you are. It's a signal. And once you understand what it's pointing to, everything starts to shift. Here's what most people never hear. Self-doubt is not a personality trait. It's not something you're born with. It's a response. A learned, almost predictable response to certain experiences. And responses can change. That's what this video is about. Not a magic fix. Not 5 steps to instant confidence. Just a real, honest understanding of where self-doubt comes from and how you can begin, slowly and genuinely, to loosen its grip. Have you ever felt like you're not enough? Like you're failing, even when everything around you says otherwise? Like other people have something you just don't? That quiet, persistent feeling, Adler spent his entire career trying to explain it. And what he found might change the way you see yourself. Adler believed that every single one of us carries what he called a sense of inferiority, not as a flaw, as a feature. As children, we are genuinely small, genuinely dependent. We look around and see people who seem capable, confident, in control, and we feel that gap. That distance between who we are and who we think we need to be. That feeling is universal. It is part of being human, which means your self-doubt isn't your personal failure. It's your humanity. Now, there's an important difference between a feeling and a complex. Feeling nervous before a video call, wondering if you'll sound stupid, that's the inferiority feeling. It's uncomfortable, but it passes. It moves through you. Now imagine someone who cancels that call entirely, who avoids it, reschedules it, finds reasons to never show up. That's when the feeling becomes a complex. That's when it stops being a wave and starts becoming a wall. The feeling itself isn't the problem. The problem is what happens when it never gets resolved. When, instead of being reassured that you are enough, you're compared, criticized, or made to feel like your worth is conditional. When you grow up learning quietly, subtly, that love comes with strings attached. That you have to earn your place, so your self-doubt isn't a flaw. It's a signal, a sign of where you've been and what you've learned. Now that we understand the root of self-doubt, let's look at why it keeps following you around. Adler had a fascinating idea. He didn't believe we're driven by our past. He believed we're pulled by our future. Specifically, by what he called a fictional final goal. Think of it as that imagined perfect version of yourself you believe you must reach before you're allowed to feel okay, before you're allowed to relax, before you're finally enough. Maybe it's a certain level of success, a number on a scale, a version of yourself who never second guesses, never stumbles, never feels awkward in a group chat. And here's the thing, as long as you're chasing that image, you will always feel behind, because that goalpost was never meant to be reached. That image was built when you were young, in conditions you didn't choose. You drew that map under pressure, and you've been navigating by it ever since, even though everything around you has changed. So your exhaustion isn't weakness. It's what happens when you spend years chasing something that was never real to begin with. Now, what do you actually do with all of this? Adler's answer wasn't positive thinking. It wasn't willpower. It was something quieter and, honestly, more powerful. He called it social interest, your ability to genuinely connect with others, to contribute, to belong, not by being perfect, but simply by being present. Here's what he noticed. People with deep self-doubt tend to be turned inward, constantly monitoring themselves, constantly bracing for judgment. Have you ever spent an entire dinner wondering what people thought of you instead of just being there? That's it, and it makes sense. It's a form of self-protection, but it also keeps you isolated, and isolation makes the doubt louder. The painful irony is this. Connection is exactly what heals self-doubt. Not the kind of connection where you perform a polished version of yourself, the kind where you show up as you actually are, uncertain, imperfect, still figuring things out, and discover you are still welcomed, still valued, still enough. Think about the colleague who always criticizes your ideas. It's easy to take it as proof that your ideas aren't worth much, but more often than not, that person is scared too. Scared of being overshadowed, scared of failing. Their doubt is loud, and they're aiming it outward. That's not a mirror of your worth. That's a reflection of their own unresolved inferiority. Other people's criticism is rarely about you. Remember that? So to bring it together, self-doubt starts as a universal human feeling, gets amplified by early experiences, and locks us into chasing an impossible image of who we think we need to be. And the way out isn't perfection, it's connection. It's presence, it's showing up. Now here's the part that matters most, because understanding all of this is powerful, but understanding alone doesn't change anything. What changes things is behavior. Adler called it acting as if, not faking it. Not pretending to feel confident, but choosing to act like the person you're becoming, even while the doubt is still loud. Maybe that looks like sending the email you've been rewriting for 3 days. Dropping a message in a group chat even when part of you thinks no one cares. Starting the project that's been living in your head for months, imperfect, uncertain, just starting. The doubt might be right there with you. That's okay. The goal isn't to feel fearless. The goal is to move anyway. To notice you're still here. You made it through. You don't have to erase the doubt. You just have to act in spite of it. One small step at a time. And those steps, small, quiet, unglamorous, they accumulate. They slowly rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. Not all at once, but steadily, the way water shapes stone. What's one small thing you could do today? Despite the doubt? Not tomorrow, today. Just one thing. There's one last idea I want to leave you with. Adler made a distinction that I think is genuinely life-changing. He separated 2 kinds of striving. The first, striving for superiority, needing to be better than others, needing to prove yourself, needing to win the comparison. The second, striving for significance, the quieter desire to contribute, to matter, to live a life that feels meaningful to you. Self-doubt lives entirely in the first. It lives in comparisons, rankings, the endless question of am I as good as them? And no answer ever satisfies, because the comparison never ends. But when you shift even slightly toward the second, something loosens. The question becomes, am I living in a way that matters to me? And that question you can actually answer. Not by being perfect, by showing up, by contributing, by being present in your own life. Adler believed, above everything else, in the human capacity to change. Not as a theory, as something he saw again and again in real people who chose, despite everything, to grow. You are not your history. You are not your worst moments. And the life you want is not as far away as the doubt would have you believe. Your self-doubt is not a verdict. It's a signal. And signals are meant to guide you forward, not stop you. So take the next small step, just one. That's all it takes to begin. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this came from. See you soon for more content.